Okay, boys, so our next draft, Tomb of the Spider Queen. So, traditionally, we would have seen like a ban on something like Zagara, for example. Not quite sure. Um, the Easter egg, stars in the main menu, right off Arthas has an Easter egg. I heard about it, but I haven't like actually done it yet. I don't know which star that is. Describe it a bit better and I'll do it. Okay, like to the right, to the left, like, or which height, like where exactly. If you like tell me, I'm probably gonna do it later. But yeah, for now, Dignitas were the first pick, first ban, and once again, Jaina is actually being eliminated by them. I would have thought that at some point we're going to see Zagara too. I mean, against ESC, it's kind of no-brainer that you would go and ban out Zagara on this map, but a lot of other teams started to ban her out on a regular basis on this map in particular because it's so easy with good creep spread to really just control those points. But apparently it was kind of fixed or changed back that with Tasta you can now see the creep tumors, which in my opinion is a pretty big deal now because it really helps you. That's very good. Yeah, so we're having yeah, there's the Zagara ban. Told you, Zagara ban already. What is Dignitas starting with? Is Nurok getting his Vikings? Is Nurok actually getting his Vikings? He's probably already like in the team speak, and he's like, please. Well, for now he gets the Sylvanas. Nurok is also playing Sylvanas, and Vikings on this map not as good as they are on others, but still, like, we could still see the Vikings here. For now, we're having Arthas. Yeah, what are they gonna go for? Vikings, by the way, of course, like, we haven't really seen them with the change yet. There is still that stun that you have to consider after you come out of the longboat, which is like 1.5 seconds. It's kind of funny when a few people, like, said, like, it's not that much, it's a mini stun. Like, that's no fucking mini stun. 1.5 seconds is an eternity in a game like this. But, yeah. We have good old Vala taken first. Some love for my girl. I like it. Alright, that's cool. And yeah, let's see what exactly they're gonna run with as the second one. I mean, the new meta, there could be anything happening, to be honest, for them right just now. We haven't seen Diablo yet today. So far we only had one game, so we still had a lot of tanks there. But yeah, so what is Arthas gonna run with here? Normally, you could go into the Illidan right now if you want to go in Illidan comp, then Avala is a very good addition to that. Don't have to do that though. If you want to have a bit more damage, one of the things that you could throw in later on as well is, for example, Sergeant Hammer, which is still pretty strong. But there's already that Tassada that we've been talking about a bit. So yeah, and that guy is funny. Show doesn't matter. Okay, so Dignitas, yeah. I'm really curious to see what they're going to do in terms of tanks, because tanks got switched a lot, they got changed heavily, and especially Diablo and ETC got changed a lot, and of course also Nubarak itself. So I'm really curious to see what the tank choices for the teams are. When it comes to damage, I mean, Jaina and Zagara have both been banned out, so in damage you are suddenly looking at a situation where you are starting to yeah, you have to wonder what exactly you're gonna get here. I mean, Sergeant Hammer is still out, you could get him. We have a few changed things on the side of Nova, which maybe could result in some kind of build that is suddenly viable for her, because of that follow-through variation that she has now on level 7, which does actually a lot of damage. But you have to be very active in those fights, and it's not really this go in, poke, do damage, and move back playstyle anymore that Nova players have been using for like ages. So I'm not quite sure if the new talent really makes her viable again in certain compositions, but it would be quite nice, especially since of course that meta that we had for a long time where it's all about CC would work very well with the precision strike heroic ability on Nova. So in theory there's a lot of synergy, but I highly doubt that we are going to see Nova today. We are probably just going to see her if teams really start to experiment with her a little more. For now, we're having Jaina taken, and I mean, if you say Jaina, then you have to get something else into the game as well, which can really prepare that stun combo. Stitches or Diablo would have been the traditional choice. You can run the same thing also with Muradin if you want to do that. Both of them, or all three of them, have stuns that they can use to start the setup for Tyrande, and then with Hunter's Mark and everything else, you're starting to get the extra damage in that you can burst the target down, so that's one of the main idea here behind it. And yeah, let's see how exactly Dignitas is going to play it here. What's going to be the weapon of choice for that? They could even decide to go into like something as Uther, for example, immediately and just like set that up and then get a tank on the next pick, but they go Illidan instead. Alright, so they have two of the heroes that are actually pretty good against Illidan. and take those away from their opponent already. Illidan in general is still quite strong. I want to see if Arthas reacts with the Muradin for the same reasons that we mentioned earlier, but so far they are just going into Zeratul as a counter here, melee assassin versus melee assassin, and go into Uther as their healer. Uther over Brightwing against an Illidan, interesting to see that here. So it's more about that burst healer, and also of course having the divine shield for a hero like Vala or Zeratul if need be. Dignitas, now it's time to really drop that, not only the tank but also the healer. In healers, I mean, you can still go for Brightwing there. He has the cleanse, he has the phase shift, you have good heal. If you go for blink heal, then in particular. But I'm a bit surprised that Arthas didn't use the option to go Brightwing here, because they had the chance to really lock down Illidan with that, like completely isolate him from the rest of the team, but they didn't do that. So we're having Rhaegar now being played, very traditional style here today with Illidan compositions. But yeah, let's see what the tank is going to be. That's, as I said, my personal favorite. I want to know what the tanks are going to be. Is it going to be in Diablo? Lost a bit of his tankiness, but apparently he's a lot more agile right now. And let's just face it, that mount that he has, that animation when he's actually running on all fours on the ground, that is just absolutely epic. That is great. And it's super intimidating too. Like, if you see that Diablo rushing towards you like that, it's just like, holy shit. So yeah, let's see. We're having, right now, the choice for them. They could go into an ETC, into a Diablo. Question is, can you still play ETC as a single damage, as a single tank at the front line? He definitely got changed a lot. He's not as tanky as he was before. Lost a lot of the talents that made him so tanky. We're having a Chen available, which is of course also great if you want to jump the backline together with another hero. We've seen Tyrael already being used, but granted, not in a single tank role, but together with other tanks. And they go Muradin. Well, first of all, that takes Muradin away from Arthas, and Muradin in general is also a pretty good hero here, so it's not too bad. You can still go for Reverberation on the level 1 talent, since you're up against Vala, and if Arthas would think about going into an auto-attack Zeratul build, then that would also shut that down quite easily. Oh, well, not shut it down, but make it a bit difficult for them. Yeah, a bit more difficult for them. So, besides that, we're having Arthas going straight into their own tank now. For them, I mean, Arthas is the team that always went for like very weird tank compositions, and in this case, they could still run with the Nubarak here. But on the other hand, then it was also Stork that played a lot of Nubarak for them, and we haven't seen it yet. Dignitas, by the way, is currently playing with a very, very solid lineup here, surrounding like Illidan with very strong heroes. So I'm not quite sure how Arthas is going to react to that, to be honest with you. I mean, right now, what they could go... They might go for Diablo for the setup with Void Prism. I mean, what else could you go for here? You could theoretically go for Stitches and try to combine the stun that you have from Uther with the Void Prism against the rest of the team in Zeratul, like old school style. They could go, as I said, into... They go Tyrael still. Wow. Didn't really expect Tyrael to be chosen here. I'm not quite sure if that really works with the setup the way that they want, but they can lock Illidan down a bit more. Gives them some nice options here. But Tyrael, not really the most tanky hero, so I'm curious to see if that's going to work out for them. That's really going to work for them. Something else that I wanted to do, but I kind of forgot what. What did I want to do? Oh, Wacky is in the house. Look at that. Alright, so okay, I'm Zen already. Wacky, no chance today, but yeah. Hi, buddy. Long time no see. Nah, no shirtless hype. I said I'm gonna make a shirtless video once we get 100k on YouTube. Alright everybody, welcome to the game between Team Dignitas and Team Arthas. We are still at the Matcharena number 2 tournament, and once again, apologies if some things with the overlay don't really work as intended just yet. The patch is very new and screwed things up. Ali released an emergency user interface update, but as you can see there's a lot of icons to the right side and on other positions that are not really as intended just yet. Let's focus on the game though. Here we are on Tomb of the Spider Queen with Arthas running Tyrael on BKB, Zeratul, Kunichan, Uther played by Hydra, Unstable is playing Vala, and Andy Lendy is playing Tacita. To the right side of the map it is Team Dignitas with Nurok playing Sylvana, Chris playing Illidan, Blood Dragon playing Muradin, Link Draga, and Tomze is playing Tyrande. As you can see here, the graphics are also a bit different now for the talent, so this is going to be adjusted in the future, just so that you know why exactly that's the case. But yeah, the game itself, we are having a birthday today, apparently. Apparently it's Andy Lendy's birthday, so congratulations, my friend. Definitely hope that you are gonna have a great day. As far as I know, he has some guests over too, so apparently he's showing everybody what a boss he is in Heroes of the Storm. Looking at the talents, we have of course quite a few things that we need to talk about. The patch has hit a few hours ago on the European server, and that of course also affected a few of the builds. We've already been talking about Muradin, who got an upgrade for Reverberation even, and the speed reduces now 50%, which is crazy good against right-click heroes. And of course Zeratul with a potential auto-attack build, and also Vala with her auto-attack build on right-clicks just in general, are heroes that benefit greatly from that. So Muradin going for that talent is not really a big surprise. Level 1 here with the rapid displacement, a bit of a different icon that we're seeing on Zeratul's blink cooldown reduce that he has right now. Icons got changed, a lot of the graphics got changed once again. Blizzard is really starting to prepare for that game release on the 2nd of June, so it's not going to take too long. Oh, Hydra is dropping out of the game here, and the immediate pause, which gives us of course the opportunity to talk a bit about the builds and also the hero compositions. In regards to the builds, like most of the heroes that we're seeing to the left side for Team Arthas are still exactly the same as they were before. There were not too many changes to the heroes there in general. We're seeing on level 1 Purge Evil, still the Smite build on Tyrael. If you're looking to the right side, then most of these heroes are still also very much the same. One of the big changes was Muradin with the Reverberation talent that we've seen, and I've talked about this already quite a bit. We're having down here also Ranger's Mark on Tyrande again. If you look at this build, you can really start to roam the map together with Muradin and Tyrande. Going from stun into stun, it's incredibly strong. It's definitely something that you can use to just take opponents down, apply that Hunter's Mark, and then behind all of that you have a healer, Light Rhaegar, who can do a lot. One of the things that got changed in the patch as well is the healing totem. The cooldown got increased. Is now 60 seconds, and therefore it adjusted more towards the healing ward. Before that, it was kind of insane to see that Rhaegar had like the best spells in the game on a lower cooldown than everybody else. But in this case now, we're having still a lot of like jumping out and into the game on the side of Team Arthas. Apparently they're having some serious problems here. Tomb of the Spider Queen is of course one of those maps where it's all about like getting those 3 back here, making sure that you get those gems that you can turn them in as well. Gem counts are up here all the way to the top. They have already been adjusted in the overlay. Looking down to the bot lane, we're having Vala and Uther together going up against Chris here, who's rushing in with Illidan. And Illidan in general is going to have a pretty tough time in this patch, considering that Muradin is now so much stronger against him, and there are just a couple of heroes that do very well against him. So it might not be as big of a deal that Illidan didn't get fixed as people thought, because that was one of the main concerns, that Blizzard didn't really do anything about Illidan just yet, but he has to play it in a certain environment to really shine, and right now there seem to be a lot of heroes in the game that can start to counter him. And well, right now we're having Andy Landy talking about like might be a DDoS. Okay, so it looks like we might actually have to wait a bit longer for Hydra. That would be a bit unfortunate. Maybe I picked the wrong game after all, but yeah, that's a bit odd. Like, you can't really just wait like 6 minutes right now, right? I mean, that's weird. Drop directly at the beginning of the game. Yeah, not sure what to do with that, to be honest. Let me see. Okay, like they are screwing around a bit. No, Tostra, you don't understand. It's not at 100,000 Twitch subscribers, it's at YouTube. Alright everybody, welcome to the second attempt of the game between Arthas and Dignitas. We had to restart this match because unfortunately a lot of the players seem to have some connection issues. Now we're going into our game here with the left side, the Russian team spawning in red with BKB on Tyrael, Kuni-chan playing Zeratul, Tacita played by Andy Landy, Unstable is playing Vala, and Hydra is playing Uther. To the right side of the map it is Dignitas, and they are playing with Tomze and Tyrande. Blood Dragon is playing Muradin, we have Nurok on Sylvana, Arthas, Chris playing Illidan, and Rhaegar played by Linked. As already mentioned before, currently our overlay here is a bit still not really perfect, but still we're having an emergency user interface update thanks to Ali SE2, the developer of this user interface, who had mercy since he realized that the patch completely screwed the older versions over. So right now we're having like a little bit of a different setup here, as you can see at the bottom of the screen when it comes to the setup with the talents, but it's still something that works for now, so I'm pretty happy with it. As you can see, we're having Tomb of the Spider Queen as our map in the Matcharena 2 tournament, and in regards to the builds that we are seeing here, there's also one of the things that is quite important here when we're looking at Muradin. Of course, Reverberation is a talent that was already available in the last patch, but right now it got buffed and it is extremely strong. Oh, Tomze actually nearly dying here. That's that storm, like that last edge of lightning, took him down. Very, very well played here on the side of Arthas, so they get the first blood in this case. But as I was about to say, Muradin is a bit stronger right now with the build that he is currently running here. So this is especially good against an Illidan composition. It's good against any kind of auto attack composition actually. Vala is of course also a character that relies heavily on auto attacks. Even if you go for a multi-shot build, your auto attacks do significant damage, and therefore Muradin jumping in and using that thunderclap can definitely mess with that DPS hero here quite a bit. The stun already, a double stun here against Anilendi, but he gets away with his Tacita, so job well done already. In regards to like the meta in general, like the compositions that we are seeing in this particular game are actually very, very old school. Running a lot of heroes that didn't get changed in the last patch or only get changed a tiny little bit. We saw bigger changes to ETC, Diablo, and Nuburak. A lot of other heroes as well, and those influence the meta of course a lot. Kel'Thas, a hero that has been introduced in this patch, is not allowed to be played in this tournament now. Usually what happens when a new hero gets introduced to the game is that most of the tournaments agree to not allow the new hero for roughly a week, so give the just the teams a bit of a chance to adapt to what's going on. You have to keep in mind that the patch actually hit the European server, I think, around like 9 or 10 hours ago, so the teams didn't even have a day to get adjusted. They were just like trying out new builds, trying out a few of the heroes that got changed, and of course the new hero too. One of the things that we are seeing here already is that we are having a focus on the Thunderclap build with Thunderburn on level 4 now taken as well. On level 7 there's several choices now for Muradin. Back in the old days you would always go for the Piercing Bolt to be able to hit 2 targets, especially when you were farming the damage on your Storm Bolt. But in this case right now you could go for Battle Momentum, you could go for a full Thunderclap build, you could still go for the Piercing Bolt and try to get that double stun in every now and then. There's a few options that you have on Muradin right now. Up to the top lane, we're having BKB and Blood Dragon going up against each other, the 2 tanks for the teams. And that's also one of the things that you have to kind of be aware of, that we're having Tyrael in this setup now being run as a sole tank. Not really what you see all that often anymore. It's a bit more popular with Arthas than it is with other teams, but Tyrael definitely making a comeback to the old days. After Blizzard removed his cast aside talent on level 13, he disappeared for a long, long time, but players started to pick him a few weeks back again, especially Arthas of course, with their Nuburak and Tyrael strategy that they showcased in the last patch already. And that got stronger, since especially Nuburak got buffed. His Beetle build is now a lot stronger than it was before. The map here, of course, is completely unchanged in regards to the 2 turning points that we're having in the middle of the map, so control is everything here. Which is also one of the reasons why we saw Zagara being banned once again, just because with creep spread throughout the entire middle of the map, you can really control those 2 turning points completely, and that's what everybody just tries to avoid. One of the things that's going to be very interesting to see is how the healing ward change is going to affect it, because healing wards now have 50 hit points, and they also can be targeted or like can be taken out, or they get damaged by area of effect skills. I'm not 100% certain if I really like that change. I felt like a healing ward was in a pretty good spot in the last version, where you could take it, you didn't have to, but you could also just right click it pretty easily. But now if an auto attack spells just hit the healing ward even with 50 hit points, like which auto attack spell really doesn't do at least 50 hit points of damage. So I'm not quite sure if healing ward is really going to be a big talent in this patch. For now we have it taken on Tacita. We're having also the healing totem taken on level 1 for Rhaegar. But yeah, that's definitely going to be one of the things that we have to watch out for a bit throughout the next few days and weeks to see if players still try to use that talent. Chris taken out there, nice job by Kunichan and Hydra. Zeratul so far really paying off. Besides the level 1 talent, we're having a standard build on Zeratul with Gathering Power and First Aid taken. When we're talking about Tyrell on the other hand, it's interesting to see that Retribution was taken on as the level 4 talent and not Amplified Healing, considering that he is being played as a solo tank in this case now. And also level 7 Zealotry taken with an increased shield duration. That all lets me to believe that at least on level 13 we're going to see the W talent for him as well, so another shield talent for him. There's a couple of different builds that you can go for with Tyrell, but normally when you're running as a sole tank, then oftentimes Regeneration Master and Amplified Healing are going to be the first 2 talents that you're going to try and pick with your hero. Bit of fights in the mid lane here already. Oh, Tomze trying a stun here. We have Unstable Poison taking on Sylvanas, going for that push build. And that is actually becoming very, very popular right now. Follow Through was the main talent for a long, long time, but started to change, to shift around a bit. Down to the bot lane. What do we have here? We have Hydra together with Chris still occupying the bot lane. Those two have been left alone by basically everybody in the entire setup here. Blood Dragon jumps in, goes for the Dwarf Toss and tries to follow up with the Thunderclap, but Unstable already moved back, and now suddenly Blood Dragon is in a bit of trouble, gets stunned once and taken out. Muradin is dead. Very, very well played here. So at this point we're having Andilendi, Kunichan, BKB and Unstable doing a very good game. I mean, they're level ahead already. And of course, like to be exact, like the 50 hit points that I mentioned earlier for the healing ward are of course the starting point. You get a few additional hit points than per each level, but still it feels like it's a bit easier to really take the healing ward down than it was before. And we'll see how it's going to be used here. I'm pretty curious. It's going to be a bit more resilient against right clicks, I suppose, but yeah, it's going to be interesting how the teams are going to deal with that. For now, we're having also in the mid lane once again trouble with another stun against Unstable, but Tassadar is there and saving Vala with a quick shield. Very well played by Arthas so far, and I mean, this is the second attempt to host this game, because on the first attempt we had like problems with 2 players of Arthas continuously disconnecting from the game. Dignitas was very well mannered and allowed them to just restart, allowed them to like wait for a long time, and now even hosted for a second time, even after Arthas already said, alright, listen boys, we are going to give you a free win. Dignitas was just saying, hey, don't you want to try it again? And they did, and right now Arthas is in the lead. So Dignitas being very, very well mannered here, and I feel that it has to be pointed out, but they are also starting to fall behind in the game a bit. We're having the heroic abilities with Void Prison now taken. Void Prism as well as the Rapid Displacement on level 1 received a graphical update in the last patch, as you can see here already. Divine Shield for Zeratul and Vala. Judgment, we have the Archon talent and also Strafe taken as the heroic abilities. So pretty much what you would expect on the heroes here. It's kind of the go-to builds or the go-to talents for most of them. The only hero, or the only 2 heroes I want to say where you sometimes see a different heroic ability is Vala with the potential Rain of Vengeance and Uther with the Divine Storm over the Divine Shield, depending very highly on the team compositions. If you want to try and go into some kind of like stun follow-up, some AoE setups, or if you are just like trying to help one of your assassins out, which is exactly what Arthas is trying to do in this game in particular, especially of course since Zeratul is going to be one of the heroes that Dignitas would love to take out, especially with a good and well-placed silence on Sylvanas. But now the top fort is down. They are trying to rotate through the lanes to take more down. We had those web weavers released again, and at this point it's time for wave number 3. That's at least what Arthas has to work towards. The defense from their opponents is actually really nice. I like it a lot. Like, Dignitas is doing a good job when it comes to the defense. We're having, the initiation against Tomze gets healed with an ancestral healing. Kunichan on the other hand is in trouble, but a good Void Prism helps him out for now. The Starfall is in position as well, and suddenly, just like that, Dignitas is turning things around. Everybody on the side of Arthas is rushing away. They're so low. Muradin moving in, getting the clap in, and starting to take the targets down. 2 already dead, and he's trying to go for Kunichan, but Zeratul moving away. Andilendi, he might die too. Nurok jumps in. The stun isn't there in time, but the stun is the second, that is, and there we go. The double, triple kill. Oh my god, like they get the double kill in first and then they even get the triple kill in. Very well done here. Dignitas just just like that, turning things around again. The red web weavers are already being released. That is sending, and we are having another camp taken. The bot lane is going to be pressured so hard. This is going to be tricky for Arthas to really stop this. They're very likely to lose a fort now. Good job here, especially keeping Tongze alive was very important. That was a great job on the side of Rhaegar, getting that heal in just in time, so linked with perfect timing. And then of course, even with the Void Prison, that Starfall alone already doing a lot of work, doing the entire duration. And I mean, Arthas was trying what they could to keep their heroes alive, but in this case there was just very little that they can actually do. Now bot lane is of course being defended here, and to be honest with you, like, Dignitas is a bit out of position there, like not in the sense that they are losing a hero, but they couldn't really do all that much damage because they only have Web Weavers at the top lane. Bot lane, Siege Giant and Web Weaver are already taken down. They went for another camp, and with all those camps they lost a bit of time to actually do damage against their opponent. They're trying it at the top lane now, and they're at least taking the entire wall, and that's already a win, since they get a lot of experience and a faster level 13 talent. We're having Overflowing Light, Sixth Sense, it is Withering Fire, no, sorry, Evasive Fire, together with Thunder Strike and Feral Lunge. And now they could try and go in. Oh my god, Kuni-chan silenced! And that was definitely not what he was trying to do. Trapped up here. Bad spot for Zeratul to be in. I don't think he saw how many heroes were really moving in that position. He was baited into that motion, and now all of a sudden they are fighting a 4 versus 5. And here comes that strafe. Job well done so far from Arthas, moving back and retreating here. They were really covering their asses, and so far Dignitas didn't get the chance to take down another hero, but that one kill of course giving them a lot of momentum, and they get the opportunity to turn in again. And with all of those gems that we saw on Dignitas, they get the opportunity to get another Web Weaver set. Well played by them. This game is great. Like, this game is actually really entertaining right now. We're having back and forth fights the entire time. 4 kills versus 3. A lot of battles and very nice disengages from both of the teams. In terms of structures taken, Arthas is still a bit ahead, but they also are in a very good spot when it comes to experience. They're rotating through the map right now, trying to take those Web Weavers, and especially their rotations are strong. I'm liking those rotations a lot. Dimensional Prescience taken. Dimensional Warp is going to be the next talent level 16 for the Andilendi. We're having Frost Shot on Vala. That multi-shot build is as popular as ever, and they are going to try to use that right here. Unstable is already trying to move in. Web Weaver is taken out again. They're really good at defending against those. I'm not quite sure if it is Dignitas just sucking at exploiting the Web Weavers, or if it's Arthas being brilliant defending against them. But the fact of the matter is that there's very little damage done with the Web Weavers, like not as much as they were hoping for. The fort at the top lane is down, that's at least a small victory. But besides that, even though they have the same amount of Web Weaver support so far, there's not really a whole lot that they could do. The stun against Andilendi in the mid lane is not forcing a kill just yet, but Dignitas is starting to get ahead slightly, ever so slightly. Slowly and steadily they're getting a bit more experience, and they're doing a great job here. This is going to be, this is a fun one, this is a real fun one. Once again we have a mercenary camp taken, but here comes Arthas, they're moving in with 3. Vala isn't there yet, Unstable is now on the way, and now they have the entire setup here. The entire team is there, and they're trying to go for the initiation. Blood Dragon at the front. Here comes the Void Prism isolating 2, and they're rushing in. Muradin use, oh, that silence! Nuruk with a great silence! A triple silence, and down goes Hydra without a healer. They're just on the run once again. That setup with the Void Prism was actually very good, isolating 2 of the heroes, but they still were able to turn it around. The Wailing Arrow that we saw from Sylvanas was great. Nuruk with a good job there. And now we're having them moving in again, and the Black Arrow of course helping out with that a lot. Very well done, and the stun attempt again against Tyrael. He jumps away in the last second. BKB, very, very well done here, getting away, not getting sniped by his opponents, but they of course have to give up the fort at the bot lane, and that just brings the opponent near to 16. And finally, that camp that they were aiming for in the first place, it's something that they can now accomplish. So they are closing in on the level 16 talent. That's pretty cool. We're having 5 kills against 3 so far overall. Can have another look at the damage, and yeah, the numbers, as you can see, it's still not perfect with the overlay here, but Ali is doing a great job in trying to update that as fast as he can. So once again, if you're a bit confused why exactly it's being displayed as is right now, it's just because the patch hit only a few hours ago and it screwed over the entire user interface that Ali designed. If you want to give him a shout out, by the way, his Twitter is Ali SC2, Ali with an AHLI. And yeah, you can definitely check him out there. He's releasing those overlays, so if you want to use them for observing games or casting, you can always head over there and check the latest one out. He's going to release another version pretty soon, and is probably going to fix those things as well. Another good kill in this case against not only against Vala, they get the one against Tyrael too, and it looks like Chris isn't really done with his Illidan yet. Jumping in again, going for Andilendi, they really want Tacita here. Whoa, good stun! And even, no way, the Divine Shield, oh my god, like Hydra, you little boss there, saving Tacita. Tacita definitely owes this fella a beer, I can tell you that much. Level 16, of course, was already available to Dignitas in the last fight with a triple blood for blood with Stone Form and the True Shot Aura. But by now we're also having the talents taken on the side of Team Arthas. And in this case it means double bombs together with a wormhole. Once again, you might not be familiar with the graphics here, but Blizzard updated those in the last patch again. As I mentioned before, imposing Willow level 13, I would have been very surprised to see anything else taken here, since we're already having the level 7 talent for the shield, which usually brings level 13 with it. Having a double blood for blood on 16 right now with a dimensional warp on Tacita makes a whole lot of sense if you're going for Prescience in the first place on level 13 here. So the two talents already taken in this case, and the imposing presence on Uther. They're in the throw pit right now. This is the desperation attempt to get the boss, and they could lose it all here. Well, they're only a level behind. Nice, I like it. Good Void Prism setup. That's actually great. And are they getting it? No, yes, yes, it is. Arthas, no, they don't get. Yes, they get it. Arthas, they get the boss, but can they get out alive? Uther is already dead, but they get the counter kill against Link. Both of the healers are down. BKB trying to get away, but he's a bit too slow for that. So it's a 2-4-1, but the boss is, of course, marching up that top lane. The Red Weavers have been released, and that means that Dignitas has some counter push here. So that boss shouldn't be able to do too much, but it's already starting to threaten a keep, so Dignitas will have to move back and deal with it. And that means that there's going to be a lot of time for Team Arthas to deal with those incoming Web Weavers. But it's not only the Web Weavers, it's another hard camp, Bruiser camp, that is moving through the mid lane and trying to take down that wall, and that wall is definitely gonna fall. Nurok, on the other hand, is falling as well, since Kuni-chan was jumping in, and Blood Dragon might actually go down too, because there's nobody to really help him out. And here comes Kuni-chan. He is on the hunt right now, but with the wormhole he moves back. He doesn't want to risk anything here. Good choice, probably, and they are starting to move back in experience, closing that gap between the two of them. Right now, as you can see, we're having Andilendi, Hydra, Kuni-chan together with BKB again. The only one who split off the rest from the team was Unstable, who tried to, of course, push back at the top lane. 25 gems in total, and that's what they are trying to turn in, and that would release Web Weavers for them too. 11 are being turned in already, and yes, there is just no way to really deny that to them. So Dignitas is moving to the bot lane instead and just grabs another Siege Giant camp. They're doing very well just controlling those camp spots on the map right now, which is extremely important. Level 20, of course, is the next big milestone for the teams. And just looking at those talents, level 20 is going to give a lot to both of the teams. Just think about Arthas here, with the potential Hardened Shield on Tyrael, making him very tanky. The Twilight Archon on Tacita is going to make it extremely difficult to deal with this damage there as well. Zeratul with the Rewind, Vala with the potential Blink or Nexus Frenzy. This is a great level 20 that Arthas has here. Then on the other hand, you're looking at Dignitas with the Storm Shield on Rhaegar, with a potential Blink on Sylvanas, or maybe even a Deafening Blast. So pretty good level 20 for them too. Tyrande could go into Rewind, which I doubt, or simply go into a second Storm Shield too. So I like the 20 a bit more for Arthas, but both of the teams are extremely strong with their 20 abilities. It's not like one of them has a massive edge there. It's more the survivability that comes into play for Dignitas, and a lot more damage on the side of Arthas. So that's going to be a very interesting one. It's actually going to be a fun one to see if both of the teams will be able to get to level 20, and so far we haven't seen a single keep fall. So even though we have a bit of an advantage for Dignitas, don't get me wrong, I mean that level advantage is nice, they're not really in a position where they can say like, alright, we got this, boys. Because they haven't really done anything with that advantage. They haven't taken a keep yet. They've taken a few walls, they've won a couple of fights, and they've done well with that. But they need to take structures, and that's something that they couldn't do yet. So right now, we're having the attempt of moving in again. Blood Dragon, once again, going for the stun here. BKB is kind of low. He needs to move back. Level 20 is just around the corner for Dignitas. And Arthas has to know that they need to move back here. They're trying to disengage already, and now they're turning it around. Great move with the Void Prism. A triple Void Prism. Chris nearly dying. Jumps back into the Void Prism, and now uses Metamorphosis to go back into the fight. Level 20 already hit, and at the same time the stun against Vala here. Vala trying to get away, but Illidan chasing her down with another quick leap. And suddenly it's a 5 versus 3. Here comes the double Storm Shield, Blink on Sylvanas, Demonic Form on Illidan, and BKB and Andilandi, they're just on the run here. And Dignitas, of course, with all that momentum that they just built up, they're trying to rush in once again. Muradin can still go for his 20 talent, and there it is, goes for the Hardened Shield. BKB a bit out of position, but jumps back in the last second. Kunichan needs to be very careful. Wow, that wormhole didn't really bring him into a great spot. The keep, of course, is going to fall here. The question is, can they hold out and protect the rest of their base until the rest of the team is back? And it looks like they can. We're having the stun against Tacita, but Tacita with a dimensional shift and also Prescience can of course always move away here. We're seeing camps taken throughout the map. Boss is going to be up in another 42 seconds. Doesn't really help him in this situation. Storms everywhere. Andilandi, BKB and Kunichan are doing whatever they can, but this bottom keep is now under a lot of pressure to the stun and the snipe against Zeratul. Even with the wormhole, he didn't get away here. Hydra is back, but now of course they are going to end up in that endless deadly spiral downwards where you just always fight with one disadvantage after another, since they are not relying on 5 heroes right now. They need that 20. They can't fight without it. They are in a very awkward spot where they are fighting with 4 heroes. They have 2 keeps that they just lost, and Dignitas, they are going for boss right now. They're just looking at this and they're saying like, what exactly are you going to do against us? There's the boss, you're only 4, we are 5, we can take the boss and then we're going to take the top keep. We're going to rush in with everything that we have, and there is nothing that you can do about it. The only thing that you can do is try and get your 20, and that's exactly what Arthas is doing. They cannot try and contest this. This is impossible. And there we go, moving away, and they need to run, and need to run fast. Blood Dragon, Chris, they're both trying to get close enough to get a quick lead, like a storm ball, anything in there, but they don't get the chance. Here comes Redemption. We're having Hardened Shield, Rewind, Twilight Argon, and Bolt of the Storm taken, and this is where Arthas has to make their stand. They need to somehow take down that boss, preferably before it goes through the wall, and then try to take the team here. Kunichan needs to blink away, and he does. He was waiting for a Void Prism setup, trying to isolate a few of the heroes. If they get an early kill in this fight, then they might be able to turn it around, but that boss is still on half HP. They're trying whatever they can. Once again, initiation. There comes the Void Prism. Gets 2 in there. Tomze is still in the back, and Blood Dragon simply moves in as well. Nobody isolated, nobody killed, and that Void Prism didn't accomplish anything at all. The keep is already dead. Andilandi is in trouble, gets jumped but moves away with a quick dimensional shift. Unstable on the move back once more. Stun against Tacita again, and the entire setup of Arthas is rushing away. Oh, and Kunichan! He tries to go for the wormhole, but once again he's down. Great silence against Uther here and Tyrael, and they are going for it. The strafe already coming through here for Arthas, but it's not going to be enough. Interrupted at this point as BKB is trying to do whatever he can to keep that core alive. They are fighting a 4 versus 5 here, and Dignitas is of course in a great spot. Once again the move back on Tacita, but the jump against Vala. Vala already dead. An attempted stun, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be it. Dignitas takes the game. GG, well played. Great match against Arthas here, and they are able to take Tomb of the Spider Queen and advance to the semi-final of the tournament. Alright! Super happy that they were able to come back and like get rid of those internet problems that they had. That was pretty cool. So guys, I'm gonna take a quick look at what the semifinal is going to be, because this is a cool one, and we have Dignitas going up against, well, I don't even know yet, to be honest. Apparently the game isn't done. That can't be. Let me see who won. If it was Fancy or Fnatic. That's going to be our next match, Dignitas against the winner of Fancy and Fnatic. But those guys are apparently AFK right now. So guys, we're going to be back in just a bit with the next match, so stay tuned, and then we'll have our semi-final here at the tournament. So see you guys in just a bit.